back to the override. 15 of the 19 hijackers on September 11th, they were Saudi citizens. Now, 9/11 victims' families can sue Saudi Arabia for any role in the plot. Critics are saying this is embarrassing for the White House, and the White House has fallen on the wrong side of the issue for America. The White House press secretary, though, lashing out at the Senate for its sweeping rejection of President Obama's veto, saying, quote, "I would venture to say this is the single most embarrassing thing that the U.S. Senate has done, possibly since 1983. Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, joins me now. Nice to see you, Mr. Gingrich.
It's good to be with you.
What do you think of this sweeping bipartisan override of President Obama's veto?
Look, I think so many American citizens are sick and tired of being told that we have to pay royalties to Iran, we have to appease the terrorists, we have to pay ransom to get Americans back. They look at all this and they look at the clear implications of Saudi support both in a direct sense of money that pours out of Saudi Arabia into radical mosques and madrasas around the world, the reality of how many Saudis were involved in 9/11, and they kind of think, yeah, I'd like to see American citizens have a chance to get even. And it's also a reflection of the growing deep distrust the American people have for their own government, the sense that the U.S. government doesn't protect me, it protects the Iranians. It doesn't protect me, it protects the Saudis. And I think that political pressure was brought to bear, and members who have gone back home for an election in a few weeks said, you know, I don't think I'm going to try to defend Saudi Arabia and other countries that sustain terrorism. I think I'll vote with the American people. That's the heart of it.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, those censored 28 or 29 pages on the 9/11 report, the ones that were, basically heavily redacted and censored, one of the memos in there said there's incontrovertible evidence that there is support for these terrorists inside the Saudi government, meaning there was connections to officials in the Saudi government. But the issue is, have we just put foreign policy in the hands of trial lawyers? Are we in any way exposing our military and our defense officials and our good guys to a flood of lawsuits?
Well, we may be. In most countries, we sign agreements. This was a big fight because the Obama administration failed to get an extension of the agreement protecting American troops, and that was ostensibly the reason for pulling them out, although you'll notice today they're sending 600 more back. I still don't think they have an agreement on protecting American troops from lawsuits or from criminal charges. So it's kind of strange that we're back to putting boots. This is clearly, by the way, boots on the ground. It's baloney to say anything else. But I think this vote and this bill is one more indication of how totally fed up the American people are with Washington bureaucracies that lie to them, manipulate them, fail to protect them. And so this is just, I think you'll see a lot more of this stuff in the next 4 or 5 years. Yeah,
we're seeing the polls, Mr. Gingrich, people out there, folks out there saying we pay for their salaries to do things like this, to mislead us and, make policies that ruin the U.S. economy. But now, Mr. Gingrich, I want your thoughts on this. Saudi Arabia possibly threatening to sell off hundreds of billions of dollars worth of American assets in retaliation and to avoid them being seized in court settlements. What do you think?
Fine. I mean, my attitude to the Saudis is you are a medieval kingdom with about 17,000 members of the royal family. You have been protected for well over half a century by the United States. If you think you're going to do better in the neighborhood with Iran without our protection, be my guest. I think it's going to be a very long, very painful experience. The Saudis always run a bluff. And now that fracking has opened up American energy, and now they have a candidate like Donald Trump who's in favor of American energy independence, the Saudis don't have much maneuvering room to threaten us. I mean, we're the guys protecting them. How come they're threatening us?
It's a good point. I mean, they're in proxy wars right now in Yemen and Syria.